The Black Death, also known as the Black Plague, was really messed up, and everyone knows it. One of the worst parts had to be, well, the death. And there was a lot of that, but it may not have been the worst part. Here are the most disturbing things about the Black Death. First, it's important to understand exactly how the Black Death kills. According to Real Clear Science, because the plague's bacteria mimics another molecule in the human body, the body doesn't realize something is wrong until the disease has spread to the lymph nodes. Once the bacteria reaches your lungs, the body goes into overdrive, triggers septic shock, and vital organs begin to fail. Historians say the Black Death was likely both strains of plague, bubonic and pneumonic. The pneumonic version is airborne, has a kill rate of almost 100%, and usually kills those who contract it within 24 hours. Alternately, the bubonic plague was spread by fleas from rats and followed a different pattern. An infected person took between 3 to 5 days to show signs of any illness, and another 3 to 5 days to succumb to the disease. According to historians, the 14th century edition of the Black Death killed around 60% of Europe's entire population. Subsequently, areas affected by the plague experienced a massive shortage of laborers and skilled workers. While supply and demand might suggest that able-bodied survivors would benefit from this, the labor shortage only gave the upper class another opportunity to step on the less fortunate. In 1349, English rulers issued an ordinance of laborers, making it illegal for workers to demand higher wages. According to the BBC, the ordinance became law in 1351, and it was quickly followed by other laws designed to help keep the lower classes in their place. In fact, the laws enacted post-plague were so restrictive that they led to the Peasants' Revolt of 1381 and the beheading of the Archbishop of Canterbury, Simon Sudbury. Before the plague swept through Europe, religion was at the center of life. While death was inevitable, it wasn't entirely something to be feared. Scores of faithful Christians believed death was simply a gateway to be passed through on the way to their final heavenly reward. While faith allowed people to take comfort in their eventual mortal end, the spreading plague made many feel as if God had abandoned them all. As the Black Death took its toll, many people began to see death as ugly and irrational, rather than as a divine reward for the faithful and devout. Because of this change in the collective mindset, the church began to weaken, as many who had witnessed the Black Death's horrors no longer felt they need to have bishops or priests communicate with God on their behalf. When the Black Death came again in the 17th century, grisly tasks were assigned to townspeople to contain the disease. Women known as searchers were employed by city parishes. They would visit families, examine the dead and the dying, and report back with the names of those who had been infected. The families would then be sealed inside their homes, and a red cross would be painted on the doors of those affected. Each home was also assigned a watcher, whose job was to ensure no goods were passed from the inside to the outside, no one entered the home, and no one left. Finally, people known as corpse bearers would collect bodies at night, loading them onto a cart and wheeling them away to be buried. According to historians, those with the corpse bearer title were largely uneducated, often inebriated, and had a reputation for searching the pockets of the dead before dumping them off in a burial pit. In an attempt to make sense of the sheer amount of mass death and suffering, rumor was spread that the plague was a Jewish conspiracy unleashed upon Christians with hopes of destroying an entire faith. Once it was alleged that a group of Jews had confessed to the plot, a massive campaign of retribution commenced. Hundreds of towns and hamlets were burned to the ground, and thousands of Jews were executed by the angry masses. The slaughter was so widespread and brutal that it would be another 3 centuries before those of the Jewish faith had recovered and rebuilt enough of their culture that they could once again be an active presence in the countries where they lived. Because large-scale death can be almost incomprehensible, individual accounts are so important to understanding what life was like during one of the most terrifying times in history. One chronicler from Florence wrote of carrying the dead to the church, describing deep pits where the poor who had died were stacked on top of each other during the night and covered with dirt in the morning. In another individual account, the great poet and humanist Petrarch recorded the story of his brother, a monk who survived the plague. However, Petrarch still referred to his brother's story as a tragedy, as he was forced to watch every other monk in his monastery die and was burdened with the task of burying their bodies by himself. Brother John Klyn of the Friars Minor in Kilkenny, Ireland, described the horrors he witnessed in one of the country's few complete records from the Black Plague, writing, "I am waiting among the dead for death to come. I have committed to writing what I have truly heard and examined. I leave the parchment for continuing the work, in case anyone should be alive in the future." His chronicle ends there, except for a single line in different handwriting which reads, "Here, it seems, the author died." Check out one of our newest videos right here, plus even more grunge videos about your favorite stuff are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.